Do you love great Australian podcasts? Of course you do. Australians make incredible podcasts. And if you want to stay up to date with the best Australian shows, then check out Oz Podcasts. Look for us on social media and find your new favourite show from the Australian podcast directory on ozpodcast.com.au. That's OZPODCASTS, ozpodcast.com.au. Check it out.
If you like new stuff before anybody else, if you like to keep your finger on the pulse, if you like the future and want to be in it, keep on listening because we'll start in a minute. Techwebcast, the hosts and guests are unsurpassed. Techwebcast, because technology, it moves so fast. Techwebcast, ha, stick around and you're gonna have a blast. Yeah! Techwebcast, ha, ha. Techwebcast. Let's go!
And welcome to episode 321 of the Techwebcast podcast, recorded on the 31st of January 2015. Techwebcast is recorded every Saturday at midday Melbourne time. Please rate us on iTunes and like us at facebook.com/techwebcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Techwebcast. Your hosts today are Brad, Steve, Jacob, Belinda, and myself, Andrew. And today on the show, we have the lovely Marla Schulman, marketing consultant and startup cheerleader from Los Angeles, California. And a little closer to home, we have John Powers from the Tribute Show on Foxtel's Aurora TV channel. How are you doing today, Brad?
I am going well. Andrew, and yourself, mate?
I'm doing very well. It's been a busy week, but Saturday has come along and it's a great time for the weekend.
It is indeed, mate. We've got some great guests on today, haven't we?
We really have. It's going to be a fantastic show with Marla, who's always a power personality, yes. And with John being on the show as well, it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Give me a good show. Can't wait to chat with John and Marla about what they do. We've got Jacob on. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Brad.
And how's your week been, mate?
All right.
All right, there's echo from you.
He's in a cave again.
There's echo coming from you.
Okay, I'll fix that.
Please fix it. Okay, we've got Belinda back on. Welcome back, Belinda. How's your week been?
Yeah, pretty good. This week, newsreader Sandra Sully celebrated 25 years at Channel 10.
Good on her.
So that was quite a big achievement. So well done to her. And yeah, I've just been using my Xbox, using Stan as well.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. Yeah, I watched that show Redfern Now last night, and that's a good show. Yeah.
Good show.
So
and you also checked out the tribute show the other night too, Belinda.
Yeah, that was awesome. I liked the Nirvana band. They were pretty spot on. So
very cool.
Yeah, it was almost like it was Nirvana. So
yeah, was indeed. Welcome back, Steve. How's your week been, mate?
Pretty good. Not a lot went on this week. I was getting behind in some stuff. I still managed to scrape some stuff for my own show today before we do your show.
Yep.
And of course, you mentioned 10 years of her in news broadcasting, and of course, 7 years of my show going to be in April. So that's kind of exciting. Of course, we're a much smaller show, independent for niche groups, tech user groups such as ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Steve. So, 7 years. Long time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. How long have we been with the Tech Webcast? Almost like 5 years now? 4?
5 years, yes. 5 years.
Is it? Wow.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Still going strong.
And I'm the oldest member. No, just kidding. Okay.
You are actually the original member, actually, Steve. There was, Steve, and there was Jody, and then there was other people came and gone, and
yeah,
you're the only person that's really stuck around, and Jody. And it's good. We got John on. Welcome, John.
Hey, how are you guys?
How are you, mate? How's your week been?
Pretty flat out, my friend. But I'm all good. All good. It's Saturday and it's do nothing day.
That's it. And watch Foxtel.
I do so much TV, mate. I try to avoid watching, but sometimes there's some cool stuff there, so you got to watch it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, if you do much, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, if you do much TV, you don't want to watch it, do you? You don't want to watch the TV.
No. Sometimes you just just rather just not watch it. Watch the ceiling sometimes and watch
Just
some.
get outside and have a
Yeah.
coffee and enjoy the sun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm addicted, unfortunately. I admit.
All right, we've got Marla on. Welcome, Marla. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Welcome from, I want to say it's sunny California, and it kind of is, but about half hour ago, it was a downpour here in the San Fernando Valley where I live north of Los Angeles. And ironically, we need rain desperately, but it just kind of passed through, and now I'm looking at the sun, and it's about happy hour here. It's still Friday.
But I guess the west coast there is nothing like what's happening on the east coast with all the snow and the blizzards. That must be crazy for you guys on the west coast watching that. As you said, you get a bit of sun and the clouds come, and then an hour later it's back outside again. And these poor guys over in New York are, with their snow plows. It's a bizarre place.
Yeah, we have the global warming deniers as the glaciers are melting into the sea. And we have all these, between pollution, between emissions, between all these things. I mean, in the industrialized nations and China throwing stuff in the air, and everybody's responsible for this. But yeah, we get these very strange weather patterns. And, even though technology does tend to help predict, and I'm from New York originally and had snowstorms as a kid where they had a few times they would shut down the schools. But it was quite interesting to see that they were going to be shutting down the whole city. And then people were kind of, politically posturing to say, well, it was not as bad, so why did we shut down New Jersey and New York? And then people complain, but, then they forget if they weren't prepared and it did come in. I mean, so to be inconvenienced maybe for 12 hours and be safe, we're in such a society these days where I think people just like to complain. It's never good enough or it's too good. And I just thought, and especially like here in California, where our big thing is earthquakes, we don't have any warning system, which most of us would, hope we did, and they're trying to work on it, but that's impossible. So, it's like, so big deal. You got to stay home from work, stay home from school, have a hot toddy, and, have a day off. I mean, but
Exactly.
what are we complaining about? God, it's not cancer,
The warning you get is like 3 seconds to get under an archway. That's pretty much.
Oh my God, yes. And actually, the archway, from what I hear now, again, I'm from New York, so I had to learn all this stuff in my adulthood. The archway could be a problem. They're now talking about the triangle of safety, that maybe actually on the floor next to your bed, and is possibly, and if you think of an imaginary line, so if something falls, it'll fall and you'll have the bed on top of you. I hate to think about that because I was in the one in 94 and it was horrific. And I didn't lose my house, but, some places look like, World War II, bombed out city in World War II. So,
wow.
But, that's life. People like to complain. And since this show is about technology, I mean, it is fascinating to see, what they can predict and what they can't. And even though there's science, technology has an art to it too. It's your interpretation and it's your experience and all those things. So as someone who grew up with less technology, as we go forward, and I'm sure you guys all know that, technology is not the end all be all, but it's certainly making things a lot easier and in some cases harder.
Yeah, definitely. Just going to ask Andrew, how would you handle the snow if you're living in the US? Andrew, how would you get on the snow?
How would I handle the snow? We'll jump into the news in a sec, but that's a good question. I mean, I've always thought that it's a value thing. When it's cold in Melbourne, it's cold a lot, as you know, Brad. It's raining and it's miserable. You kind of get upset. Oh, it's freezing. It's cold outside. But when it's snowing, it almost takes that crisp away. And there's a value thing involved too, because if I go outside and there's this lovely white snow and it looks beautiful and it's falling, and it's just like Christmas in the movies, I'm like, you know what? I can put up with the fact that it's freaking freezing cold because this thing looks awesome. There's snow and the kids are playing. But when it's just wet and it's freezing cold and it's miserable, the value is not quite the same. So that's the way I see it, right or wrong.
All right.
I agree with him, just if I might jump in, because it does seem to be, when it's damp out and windy, it could be 30 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know Celsius, or 0 Celsius, and, you know, feel much warmer when it's snowing. And it is pretty, and mentally you're prepared for it. But here, you know, I always say below 70 Fahrenheit, I freeze, because I'm now so used to the fluctuations being, you know, 90 and 100, and then down to 60. And then if it goes to, like, you know, if it's a day that we could have 40-degree fluctuations toward the end of the year, you know, it's insane. You could be wearing a bikini in the afternoon, and you'll need kind of a snowsuit at night, but it's only like 40 degrees out. So
sounds like Melbourne.
It does, much like Melbourne, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so what are the news articles for the week, Belinda? Shall we jump in there?
Yep, let's do that. Yep. I'll just play this.
Let's go. And in today's news, fitness app Runkeeper is integrating Spotify music for your workouts. It is continuing its push for ubiquity after confirming it had killed its Music Unlimited service and inked a deal with the Swedish company the music streaming service PlayStation and Xperia smartphones. Runkeeper has announced Spotify integration for the iOS version the fitness app. Run 5.2 update released a few days ago on the App Store means users with Spotify Premium subscriptions can sign into their accounts and play music through the fitness app. To access the streaming service through Runkeeper, you need to download both it and Spotify before following Runkeeper's steps. And the next story is SoundCloud for iPad, redesigned with clearer UI, better controls, and more. SoundCloud revamped the user interface for its iPhone app last year, and it is now bringing the changes over to the iPad version 3.7.1 for iPad features and a cleaner layout with an emphasis on album art, simplified controls for navigation, and playback and consolidation for playlists in one location. You can also access a user's profile from a track or playlist by clicking on their name. SoundCloud mentions that the update does not feature the audio recording feature. And take a look at the complete feature list of Foxtel's new iQ3 set-top box. The entire feature list of the upcoming new Foxtel iQ3 set-top box has been revealed to Tech Guide by a source familiar with the device. The iQ3, which may be available as early as next week, will have a 1 terabyte hard drive. That's quite a lot of room. That's quite good compared to the previous one. On board, along with 10 tuners to make it possible to record 3 programs and watch a 4th. It will also have built-in Wi-Fi to connect wirelessly to your home's broadband network, while the remote control will be linked to the device via Bluetooth. And Apple today released iTunes 12.1 for OS X Yosemite, which I downloaded, so hopefully it's got some more fine-tuning done there. And introducing a new iTunes widget for the notification center. With the widget, it's possible to see what song is playing, skip ahead, and favorite. When listening to iTunes Radio, there is an option to purchase a song that is being played. Today's update also includes performance improvements when syncing an iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch on iTunes. And Facebook Places Tips will try to put useful info about your location right into the news feed. Facebook is of an ongoing battle to make sure it always surfaces useful, relevant content, which is what makes it a new feature the company is piloting a bit of a risk. As of today, Facebook users in New York City will be able to test out a new feature called Place Tips. Assuming you have location services enabled, the Facebook app will try to guess when you're in a popular or interesting location and surface relevant tips, photos, and posts from the place in question. Newsfeed today is a pretty good tool at connecting you to friends and news, says product manager Mike LeBow. And iTunes Connect issue logging developers into other accounts, now offline. Apple has quietly brought iTunes Connect back online, yet to see developers complain about the issue from yesterday since it went back up. Apple seems to have temporarily taken down iTunes Connect, an issue with Apple's iTunes Connect service, which lets developers upload new versions of their apps and the App Store and track sales and income, is causing some developers to log into the wrong accounts this morning. The issue emerged as developers noticed that they had access to apps that clearly did not develop, began posting screenshots on Twitter. And as you can see, some of the examples that popped up in the timeline, some of the accounts compromised by the bug gave random users access to apps developed by large companies, small developers. And that.
And as you were breaking up, you were saying that, Linda, that was the news for the week.
Yes, that was the news for the week. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Belinda, for doing the news. Great, as always. Thanks for filling for Jody and Jennifer. They usually do the news each week. Good stuff. Andrew, let's go to you first. What any opinion on them news stories at all, mate?
Yeah, it's great that Runkeeper has integrated with Spotify, obviously the music streaming service, but interesting, my quick math gets us to about a gigabyte of data a month if you go for about a 45-minute run, 4 or 5 times a week. So there's a bit of data that would be pushed through that, but I guess it saves you a lot of time having to worry about what, music's on your handset. So that's really good. With the Facebook Place Tips, that's a really interesting one. I guess that's Facebook really starting to explore the use of Bluetooth beacons, which is a technology actually at South by Southwest this year. My company Zafo sponsored a Bluetooth beacons smart meetup that basically as you're walking along, there's a beacon in a store and it can see that you're nearby and it will shoot you through a message that's directly related to you about that individual location. So, you walk past a store and it will say, hey, there's a special for this. We noticed that you've liked this, and this on your Facebook, therefore you're into this. So all of these sorts of things. So it's really targeted contextual information to the individual person. And I think it's a lot about the future. So that's really, it's good that Facebook is starting to do that, but it's scary where it could lead to. And with iTunes Connect issue logging developers out, I've got 4 or 5 apps that run through iTunes Connect. If I log in and end up on someone else's app, there's no telling what you could do. Change the app name, delete the app, do all sorts of things. So that's really scary. And it's good to see that they took iTunes Connect offline immediately and have hopefully cleaned up that situation. So, a few news stories this week. Quite interesting.
Do you use SoundCloud at all, Andrew?
Yeah, I do. I don't use it that much, but I tend to lean towards it when I see people put things up. I follow a lot of people on there, so I log in now and again and just have a look and see what people, have put up on their SoundCloud. And sorry, just another article in there too with the Foxtel IQ3 set-top box. I know, Brad, you've been waiting for that for quite some time, so it's great to see that coming out. And with Foxtel's new, really aggressive plan pricing, it's going to give them a really great, standpoint in the market through 2015. So hopefully the IQ3 goes off with no hitches and, is everything as good as what they've been saying it to be.
Well, that's I agree. Yeah, hopefully it will be. Yeah, hopefully it's all good and runs really well. What's your price point, you reckon, on how much it would be, do you reckon? You'll guess, Andrew, do you reckon?
Look, I guess initially it might be priced higher. It could be $10, $20 a month to use it, or it might be, $150, a couple $100 to buy up front. I really don't know, but I can't imagine that they'll price it cheaply. I would suggest that in the very early days they might be limited on stock quantities, so they'll probably price it in a way that it can slowly absorb into the market, rather than sort of jumping straight in quite heavily. And also with any new product, they'll want to absorb it in slowly to see if there's any issues or bugs or whatnot, so that they can actually get them fixed up with with the early adopter crowd, who are probably a bit more allowing of technology.
Yeah, definitely.
Implementation.
Yeah, I reckon my bet probably the price would be about $100 at the max, I reckon. Or less.
Yeah.
100.
Guess we'll wait and see. I guess we will wait and see. So
Yep.
what are your thoughts, Brad? Any thoughts on those articles on there today?
The Foxtel IQ, I'm looking forward to that. As you know, I've been looking for a long time. The new SoundCloud app looks great on the new iPad Air 2. iTunes, the new iTunes is great. You can use that in the widget now. It's pretty cool. Used that yesterday. Very cool. What else? Belinda, what about you? What's any opinion on them stories?
I like the new Apple release of the iTunes 12.1 on Yosemite.
Yep.
I like the feature how you can be listening to the radio, iTunes radio, and just buy a song that you hear.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've always wanted them to do that, but they haven't had that before, and it's really good. And also, I'm looking forward to the IQ3. Yeah, so I have to wait for them to give me a price on that.
I think everyone's looking forward to that. I think.
Especially the extra space that you've got. 1 terabyte's quite a lot.
And some of the features are built into the box. It's unbelievable. There's got the trending now and the new TV guide and built-in free-to-air channel now, and you can watch all your free-to-air channels and through it and stuff. And
and being able to record 3 shows at one time.
That'd be fantastic. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. What else? Let's go to John. What about you, John? Any views on them stories at all, mate?
Oh, look, all technology is good. It'll change by next week. That's usually the case. Look, as an ex-musician myself, that's probably good for the bands.
Yeah.
I hear many songs on the radio and go, okay, then you just forget them. So it's good that you got the option to buy straight away. So.
Do you use iTunes or?
Not as much as I should, but since I got this beautiful iPad, I have to use it.
Yeah, definitely. What iPad do you have?
The new one, the new Air 2.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, same. I love it. I got one too.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's a new world, but look, at the end of the day, things will change, and I love a change.
Yeah.
So, but it's all good, yeah. And as for the IQ, good to have the free-to-air come through it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So we can watch the from the 3D channels that we can't watch. That'd be pretty good. Jacob, what about you, mate? What's your view on them stories?
Okay, I was reading up on iTunes Connect. That's pretty bad.
Yep. Hey, talking to the mic a bit, mate. You're a bit low.
Am I better now?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, what I was saying was, why would Apple not let that go?
I'm not sure, mate.
Yeah, logging into someone's account. I agree with everybody I agree with that, because log into someone's account and screw with their app, probably place a little virus in their app if they wanted to. I also wanted.
I wonder if they could reprogram it.
Yeah, go ahead, Jacob.
In the IQ3, I was looking at the photo from the page. It actually looks like a pretty small system.
It is. It's a very small box, smaller than the IQ box at the moment, the black one. It's smaller. And it's actually added some TiVo features in there as well. What TiVo's got, the trending and stuff and that sort of thing.
And just to interject with what you said there, Jacob, you said an interesting point. Someone could quite easily put a virus into an app. Are Apple going to look through the records and logs, and are they able to see if you logged in? If I went to someone else's account, are they going to have a look and see if I did anything, or are they just going to hope that I didn't do anything, or can't? Or don't they have logs that can show them what the bug was or what accounts people went into? Because as you said, Jacob, you could quite easily put a virus or do something harmful. So it'd be interesting to see if they have the ability to backtrack and log through that data.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Interesting. Any other views, Jacob, on the stories, mate?
Well, I was going to say the fitness tracker. That's pretty good. Making it with Spotify. That'll help a lot of us out.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really use that product. I use Spotify, but I don't use the fitness thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else, Jacob?
That's about it for right now.
All right, mate. Let's go to Steve. What about you, Steve?
Looking at the iTunes update, which I did. I looked at it today, and well, I actually covered for my show in a short video. The integration with Yosemite works pretty well, so you can actually minimize the iTunes application or put it in another desktop, and you can continue to use it in Notification Center. Haven't tested out the sync speed for their mobile devices. I'm interested to try that out and see perhaps if it's faster, which is supposed to be the update. And looking at iTunes Connect, not so much as Connect issues, but I know Apple's getting rid of, I believe, their test flight.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because we're actually working on a new app for this podcast, so it's interesting to see what Paul will be using after this. Because yeah,
it's funny because I could never get it to work. I kept on trying to click on emails, and it just wouldn't send the application.
It is the worst product of all time, and I'm absolutely surprised that Apple have held on and done what they have with it. It's the worst product ever.
Oh, maybe that's why perhaps it didn't work. I'd like to try maybe iTunes Connect. I do have a developer account, but mainly for obscure software applications. So maybe I could try that to see if I could, I don't know. Well, there's probably still no way to gain access to the Techwebcast application.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to resend it out. So just look out for your email. I think he's going to use.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to re-download the test flight or whatever.
You never know, Steve. If you log in with your iTunes Connect account, you just may match up. You just don't know at the moment.
It'd be a crapshoot to see if I get the right one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Marla, what about you? What's your view on them stories?
Well, it's very interesting. I hear you talking about Apple, and one of the things I wanted to mention today was sort of an RIP farewell to the Google Glass, of which I was one of the explorers, not in the very, very first wave, but the more like a few months in, and about a couple of weeks ago, after CES, Google announced that it was suspending the Explorer program, and so there's a bunch of us with a $2,500 American dollar piece of hardware that now is going to be abandoned, which is kind of sad to some degree.
You're not happy about that, Marley, about that spending all that money on that product, and now it's all dead and I guess I can use it as much as it can. I mean, I loved the aspect of taking photos or videos from my eyes view, and I love directions because you didn't have to look down. It was sort of virtually on your screen. But for audio and going back to Spotify and all that, it's, you have iHeartRadio here, you've got Spotify, you've got Pandora, and I usually don't buy from iTunes because I can usually start these radio stations and listen to it. And also because I'm working in tech and marketing, I'm on my computer, so I don't usually listen to the radio. It's not like I'm doing busy work and doing that. So I'm probably not a good demographic for, any kind of rational comment on that, because I'm not using the music apps to the extent of someone else or my kids do. So you don't use Spotify, Marla? You don't use Spotify?
No, I do. I do. But what I'm saying is the amount of time that I spend listening to music, period. Usually it's in my car, and I do have a playlist on my iPhone, or I'll pull up SoundCloud, because some of my favorite driving music will be on SoundCloud, but I don't subscribe to them. I'm a big TV visual person, so if you ask me about Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, I'm all over that. So
I love TV stuff. It's interesting to see.
I'm a big fan of the Netflix and things like that, and I've been getting right into the Showtime Anywhere.
What's the Showtime app like, Andrew? What's that like, man? Is that good? Any good?
Yeah, it's really great, really great. And HBO Go, loving that. Hulu Plus, the fact that Hulu Plus has advertising in it, it just doesn't sit well, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, for the price, okay, I don't know what the situation is in Australia, but there are very big fights going on right now because the cable industry there are several companies that have a monopoly. Cox is one of them, Comcast. Time Warner is like a baby, and then there's this smaller, outlets, but basically Comcast is trying to merge with Time Warner, which I have here on the West Coast. And so then they jack up the price. And the thing that really bothers me is I decided to cut the cord, but I don't have an antenna on my television, and it's ready for cable.
Right.
So I had to get. They didn't give it to me free for $1.50, an adapter to use the cable. Then after I bought it a month later, they decided they were going to then encrypt this signal. So I would have to get yet another encoder and a box. So I was trying to get rid of the box scenario, but just to watch my local television shows. And I stripped down everything else because Hulu for me, for $7.99 a month versus $20 to have the premium package is cheaper to watch my daily show with Jon Stewart. So I'm watching it maybe a day later. But with my schedule and everything being round the clock, I mean, I'm talking Australia in the middle of the night. The timing is not everything. And so it's not as important to be on it, on a schedule, which is nice about these services. So I really like that, but I'm getting, really pissed. I'm actually going out this weekend to buy some kind of digital antenna because I want to cut the cord because then what happens is they get you. So it was $1.50. Now they've raised, it'll be $3 a month and the rental of the box and 30 cents for this. And so it's all a la carte, even though they try to package it for you. And the only thing that I need from it really is the good Wi-Fi. They have one of the better.
What about the new Sling thing that's coming out? It's in beta.
Box?
No, it's called Sling, and it's I think it's like $20 a month for like 12 channels.
Yeah, I don't know that one in particular. I know Google, I know Apple TV, and I know Chromecast. I think that those are going to be disruptors. Have you guys heard of Aero, AERO? It was tested. Yeah, and I thought that was brilliant. And I feel like this, not so much HBO Go, but CBS Go and some of the American TV networks are getting with the program now because they realize that everybody's going online, whether it's their phone, their iPhone 6 Plus, their iPad, on the go, and they better get with the program because people are going to rebel against cable and do more of a, I want to buy it myself. So with the Netflix, the Amazon Prime, I'm probably paying a little bit less for my cable package or my TV entertainment package, which also has music, by the way. But the good thing is, and the reason some of these things, some of these channels like Showtime has The Nick and House of Lies and and Shameless US, and they have all these breakout TV shows that are really well done, and Homeland. I was a big Homeland fan, and HBO has its, that's the movie industry to me is sort of dead. And I think the movie industry will be revived when they go to Netflix. And I've heard like Adam Sandler and some other people are making direct to Netflix kind of deal.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that interview that went straight to Netflix, and I couldn't believe it.
Well, that was because America was threatened with being blown up
really?
By South Korea. Yeah, no, that was a big thing. That there were two things. There was a big hacking into Sony television, and then there were like credible threats against movie theaters, and having had 9/11 here and some other horrible things, again, like the snow, they opted to not open it in many movie theaters or big chains to protect people and go the streaming route, which then, because it wasn't a very good movie, so it made some money. I don't think they recouped their money, and they might not have anyway. but I think it put people who would normally not go online because now the curiosity factor, and probably with that they saw it was really easy and it's at home and you can make your own popcorn and not have to spend, $50 to go to the movies. It's like, wow, I can buy a movie at home for $7.99. So,
yeah, definitely.
I think this whole entertainment, whether it is movies or television, or it's not even television. I mean, House of Cards, is Netflix. On Amazon Prime, brilliant thing called Transparent, that even won some Golden Globe awards. So the thing is that people are getting creative freedom to do these really, really good shows that are not pap. And I can hardly watch some of the local the network television, because it's like, it's the same show, just, put on a different character. It's a doctor, it's a nurse, it's a lawyer.
So, Marla, you're going to get a digital antenna put up on your roof for your TV?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
You're going to get a digital antenna put up on your roof for your TV?
Well, actually, I live in a historical building that won't let me get like Dish or any of those. And there's problems with those, but I am going to get there. There is some kind of adapter I can get that will pull in the digital signal. So I'm not that concerned.
Well, let us know how you go with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about what you do. And you went to CS, Marla.
Yeah, well, this is a perfect segue. I mean, why I know so much about the television business was I kind of, not grew up, but my early career was started at very really exciting job at ABC Sports when it was really the pinnacle of sports, when ESPN was just, that cable station, it was just where they put all the stuff they didn't have on ABC. And certainly it's, become the preeminent sports channel around the world, besides Fox, but ESPN was the first. And I did, I was a producer director of segments for like entertainment shows, entertainment news shows, anybody who could hire me. And then I ended up working for actually all 4 networks at one point, the ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, broadcasting, and Disney Channel, some cable, doing advertising, marketing, promotion, basically selling TV shows to people. So I always call that my MBA in marketing, because we would get a mini series to promote, and they'd say, okay, well, there's a man in it and a woman, and there's a love story. Okay, promote it as a love story. Oh, they're having a battle. Let's promote it as a war story. Oh, there's some kids in it. Promote it for kids. So we were given platforms or markets to take the same content and create different little mini stories to promote it, on air. And in 2009, when Fox Broadcasting, all of a sudden, Rupert Murdoch didn't think he made enough money, he decided to cut his TV station's budget, and went a lot of us higher earning personnel. But at the same time, it was time. I had been there for 10 years and I was growing stale, and I did want to try something else. So the first year I took a sabbatical with some of the money that they gave me on my exit package, and went to my first South by Southwest, Word Camp, Pod Camp, because I had been working on some of the digital initiatives at Fox, and I knew that's where it was going. So it wasn't foreign to me at all. And I knew that's where it was going. So I went on this sort of self-education tour and met a lot of great people, started to get the lay of the land, loved startups, and slowly but surely started to get a few clients that wanted to know how to promote, whether it was their product, themselves, or their business. And so right now, that's pretty much what I do. I had a musician as a client. Right now, I actually have 2 different kinds of local dentists, both who want to have more of a national presence and be spokespeople. So kind of what I do is sort of a cross between marketing, PR, advertising, promotion, and use social media. The name of the book I want to write is There's No Such Thing as Social Media, because it's all marketing, promotion, and advertising. It's just a matter of how you do it. So I've been really happy. I work from my home, and I get to travel great places. I just got back from the biggest electronic show, Geek Fest, CES. It's my 6th year. I would go anyway. It's Andrew, you guys have no imagination on how big this is. I mean, 180,000 people come to Las Vegas, which is not a big place, mind you. And everything from the connected cars to the little jump drives that you can personalize, there's a whole China pavilion from Shenzhen.
The place must just transform. It must absolutely transform while CS is there.
Well, they're used to conventions, but literally the amount of people at the convention center, because there's a North Hall, a South Hall, a Central Hall, but then they spill over, and the things that I'm interested in too are the wearables, as I discussed earlier. And last year at the Venetian, they had, I don't know square footage, but it was a nice, maybe, I want to say 6 aisles by 6 aisles of stuff, wearable jewelry, fitness apps, not the big ones. The big ones like Fitbit and Jawbone and whatever, and some things were in the main halls. But these were like smaller companies. There was one that I really liked. They had a monitor for your wrist. This was last year. I didn't have a chance to follow up, but it told you if you were getting sunburn or what the sun strength was, so you would put the right SPF on, to prevent you from getting skin damage or melanoma or something else, which I loved. But as a standalone product, I think, everybody doesn't want to wear a fitness thing and a sunshine monitor and a heart, so, that I think that's where these things are going to evolve. I have a Misfit Shine, which I should say that they did give me as a promotional item, but I do love it. It's one of the prettiest ones. It's one of the more elegant ones. It's really easy. You can wear it different places. But the things that got me excited was now they've created, in a partnership with Swarovski, these gorgeous blingy things that you can sit, and they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. So, to me, as a female, and I think, men are fashion conscious, but what I see CES doing is catering more toward a female audience, knowing that people are coming along. It's not just because they have the connected washing machine, the connected, refrigerators, the cars that are going to have all this other stuff in it. That will drive yourself, will protect you, will make you wake up if you fall. But things like, I love the things where you can control from your phone your sprinkler system. So if you're out of the house and it starts to rain and your sprinklers are going on and you forgot to shut them off, so everything, your light bulbs, your dimmer switches, your air, so technology is so pervasive. And you can't ignore it. And I have friends who look at me, I'm in a little bit of an older generation, and say, how do you get into all this technology stuff? And I'm going, do you use a cell phone? And they said, yes. Do you use a computer? Yes. That's all it is. It's just a matter of getting comfortable with it. And, I don't know how you can't, because it's really all around us,
All right, good stuff,
Interesting.
Marla.
So are you off to South by
Steve?
Southwest? We caught up this.
Well, last year
Sorry,
for
Brad?
South by...
I was going to ask Steve if you've got any questions for Marla.
Oh, that's okay. You can go ahead, Andrew. You got it.
You guys, sorry.
I got your back, Andrew.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. I was just going to ask if you're off to. We caught up last year at South by Southwest
Yes.
Marla and had a great time, which was fantastic and a lot of fun meeting you there. Just wondering if you're heading back that way this year.
At this point, it looks like no, unfortunately. And Andrew, we can do a whole new show, have me back on South by, about the changing face of South by since the first one I went to in 2009. So I've been to, I think, three, maybe 4 in the last 6, probably 3 every other year. And it's a marketing mecca there. It's all about the marketing. It's about the parties. The only one, which I stayed there last year for the music. It seems that the music has maintained its purity, that people are really into it, but the tech side and the that was fascinating. And I went on this RV last year. It was called RVSX, so it was RV by SX. And we were sponsored. I was sponsored by a company called Squirb, an app, and I was squirбing. It's a location-based sentiment engine, as they call it, to squirb all our way down Route 66 from Chicago to Austin and live in a RV, which was some of the best fun I've ever had. And I saw snow in Chicago and in Missouri and in wherever I was. So I don't know, Andrew, do you need someone down there? Maybe you should just hire me to come down and promote your product.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that would be
Maybe
fantastic.
that's not a bad idea. Actually, I wouldn't mind having a chat offline and going through a few things. It could be well worthwhile. Now, Steve, did you just quickly? I think Brad wants to get to have a chat to John. Did you have any more questions for Marla there, Steve?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that maybe she could like rewind her way all the way across America. You know, rewind app. Okay, just kidding.
That's not a bad idea, actually. We've got some really exciting things happening with Rewind.
Yeah, definitely. And Marla, you went to Robert Scoble's party. Just real quick, give a quick mention.
Oh my God. That, you know, it felt like a bar mitzvah of the Jewish persuasion, or a wedding that there were so many people there you couldn't even see.
Wow.
I mean, it was sort of a 4 or 5 day extravaganza. It was his 50th birthday, and we all converged on Napa. And Mark Cantor, who is a big startup guy, had an RV in a parking lot. So the party started Thursday night. Friday, we did some wine tasting. I'm a big wine lover. I don't know enough about it, but I know what I like, and it was extraordinary. And then Saturday, there were so many people, we were in 2 bunches, and we went to Sullivan Winery, where they had a spread of beautiful charcuterie and cheeses and stuff. And then we got to drink really expensive wine. It flowed. And, you know, 1, Robert had the time of his life, and he deserved it. 2, saw friends that I only knew online or through Robert. And 3, got to, you know, hang out with other people. And then we went to a place called City Winery. And the only person, I met a lot of people that I, you know, really respect, but the only person I didn't meet, Elon Musk, was there. I saw afterward, and I would have loved to have met him and chatted with him for a moment, but and Matt Mullenweg from WordPress. So it was a pretty high-powered, you know, bunch of people. But really, what I found versus Hollywood, which I've, you know, sort of grown up in my business, tech people are awesome. They are the friendly, you know, I mean, there are exceptions in everything, and but in general, the tech industry, which to me gave me my new career, has been so welcoming and so accessible. And, you know, and then, you know, just to sew it up, I mean, that's why I call myself a startup cheerleader, because every once in a while I just, you know, will volunteer or have someone call me up and say, hey, how do I do this? I don't have any money. But, you know, because, you know, if you have the best product in the world, if you don't have good marketing, it doesn't matter. If no one can find you, forget it. And you can have a pet rock and do this and that, you know, make people think they need it, and bam, you're a gazillionaire before you know it. So,
all right.
I'm
sure Belinda or Jacob's got some questions for you. Belinda, do you have any questions for Marla at all?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you where you think the TV industry is going to go into the future, and whether it's still going to exist or whether everything's just going to be online.
Okay, I'm going to give away my age, but I remember, well, I was young, and I remember that the cable, that the networks had petitions to stop the cable industry from being started, because they felt that traditional TV would go under. And all we've seen is the cable business and the channels and everything expand. I think that all this online is just going to make it expand. I think it's just going to end up being, you know, more niche programming as we have on YouTube. But remember, there's billions of, you know, there's 1 billion people in the world, and, you know, this gives everybody a chance to have information brought to their homes. Or, I mean, sometimes a movie experience is a movie experience. You can't beat it. I think here in LA, what they've been doing, they had a movie with Anne Hathaway, and they had her appear, do a live, Q&A after. So they made it more event-like. So I just think it makes room for more, and I think it just creates more outlets. And I think it might democratize or bring down the prices of some of these, like the cable company, who I think they're overpriced right now. And I think, I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say probably increased competition as well.
Yeah, that's why I liked Arrow. I thought that was going to give cable, but here in America, you can pay for your votes, unfortunately. So we're in a situation, which I don't want to go into politics, but we're in a situation where he or she who has money gets to make it, gets to have its say,
Right.
which is sad.
Good stuff. Good answer, Marla. Jacob, any questions real quick, mate? We need to move on.
Oh, well, I have one. Since you were saying about wines, and Napa Valley, have you met Sarah Francis?
Yeah, that was actually the woman whose wine we drank, and she gave Robert a couple of amazing bottles. And it was also sort of a crowdsourcing kind of a pitch from Robert, because when the earthquake hit in Napa a couple of months ago, if you heard about it, she lost a lot of her high-end wine that had been in barrels.
Wow. She
said she saw it running down running down the road, basically. It was very sad. It was about $50,000 US. So, yes, I got to meet her, and everybody was donating money to try to get her back on track, because I don't think it'll wipe her out. She's too spunky and all that. And if you don't know about it, sarahfranciswines.com. Go help her out. Very good wine.
Yeah, she's been on the show before. She's been on here before, and
yes. So I was lucky enough to meet her, and that's the kind of client I want to get. A wine client. I want to go to Napa more. That's one of my places. And if you look at my Twitter handle, I have grapes growing. So I'm looking toward that in the future.
Good stuff, Marla. Good to have you on. You want to hang around for me?
Thank you so much, guys. It's great to hang out with you. I'd love to do it again. Let me know.
We'll do. Hang around for a minute. We've got John on today, Andrew, from...
We have, and yeah, we could talk till tea time, Marla. You're a whole lot of fun to have on, but thank you so much, John.
Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me talk. I'm from New York. We all talk. We all talk a lot.
Love the accent.
Exactly.
John,
you're still
there,
buddy.
I had to throw that in a little so you knew I was authentic.
I meant to mention Rachel too, Marla. Mention Rachel too. Do a shout out to Rachel.
That's Rachel Wagers, who you spoke with a few weeks ago, is my niece, who's actually down under for a year, which I'm talking to her and seeing if I can just maybe pick up on her couch and head out there. So we'll see.
Should. Okay, cool. All right, Andrew, let's go to John.
Good day, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How could I top that one now?
Goodness gracious. It's tough. Marla is a hell of a lot of fun, but John, what you're doing is a
tribute artist impersonator. Unless I wanted to go into the local bars and find 20,000 Elvises, which I didn't want to do. And but yeah, then it just ballooned from there, and Aurora took it on. Then it's been a good little ride for a while. So yeah.
And tribute shows are so much fun. I mean, I've seen a number of live gigs, YouTube, Bon Jovi, and all the rest of them. But you buy your seat, it costs you a fortune. You're somewhere in the stands. When it's a tribute show, it's usually at a bar or somewhere great. It costs you $20-$30 to get in. You buy a few beers, you have a dance, and you can actually almost experience the music more than when you're actually seeing the live show themselves, because you're in that immediate. You're 10 meters away from the stage. It's just a great night out, and I really enjoy seeing a tribute band because you know exactly what you're going to get for the most part. If you go and see a Queen one, if you go and see a Bon Jovi one, you know where you're going. You know what the song is. You're waiting for Living on a Prayer. It's going to be at the end of the show. So it's the same sort of emotional thing when you go live. You kind of get a feel for the way the set works, and I think it's a whole lot of fun doing that. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, it's great. Look, as I said, when we first started, I did the whole, again, I can't compete with Marla, but I did the whole marketing thing. Went to, all the clubs, spent about a month just checking every tribute band. But I was asking the punters, why are you coming to these shows? And they're going, it's an escape. It's also a economy issue. They can't afford to see the real Pink, and they go to the closest thing possible. And you know what? Most of these tribute artists are accommodating. Nothing wrong with the main artists, but they can go up to them and get a signature. The kiddies love them. We did a show with the Pink Show at Hungry Jack's, and we filmed a couple of episodes there. And you know what? The kids loved it. I did Katy Perry at the Tab Corp in Melton, and kids would go nuts. And I go, the kids thought it was the real thing,
Unbelievable. I actually seen that episode, John. Great episode, by the way, mate.
Oh,
the kids probably do think it's the real thing, and they can't get near Katy Perry. The real one, they've got no chance of getting near her. But this one, the tribute, and if she's a lovely person and she plays along with it, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the girl that does it, Christy Jinx, is, as you saw the interview, we interviewed her. She loved it,
Yeah.
But we've also, we look at all the angles of the show. Look, look, I can take this as either a slap in the face or the biggest form of compliment was the Americans done exactly the same concept in America on the main network, Access TV, the world's greatest tribute bands. Obviously can't be the world's greatest tribute bands because we do have some awesome ones here. But the thing is, it's great. There is a market, and Australia probably smaller population needs to push the market a little bit differently. We've been burnt by these Star Search things and everything else that had more corniness, where I'm trying to promote these guys. I'm a visual resume, as they would call it, and they're not going to get airtime on other networks unless they get made fun of. Which
exactly.
I won't do that to them, because if I make fun of them, then they won't get gigs. I'll get bombarded by their management, and at the end of the day, I have no arguments.
Okay, so let's talk about community TV for a minute, like Oral TV and Channel 31. That ends at the end of the year. Is that correct? You were telling me before.
Yeah, 2015 at the end of the year. There, unfortunately, the spectrum needs to be bought out. Money talks, and billions do talk. And I mean, I've read a few little side bits that obviously looks like Optus and Telstra are going to have a big bidding war for it.
Right.
So,
do you reckon it'll come on? It won't come on to Foxtel, will it?
No. I think Aurora is the only community TV network that's going to exist, and 31 I heard are going to go online. So, which is good, but as unfortunately as we say, look, the tribute show at the moment has been getting a few offers from a couple of distribution companies that want to put us on Hulu and all the big boards.
Gee.
That's good.
So,
are you going to take it up on that, John, or are you gonna, what's your view on that? What do you think about it?
Look, the contract is like a Bible. I've got to go through it really heavily, because you are signing your life away, or not life, but your show away in one way. It's a bit technical than that. And then, but yeah, the idea is great, because at least we get to go broader, and our
it's
show,
a real endorsement for the hard work that you do and all of the content that those tribute shows put in, that, you've got these kind of big organizations like Hulu, as you said, vying to take on your content, because they obviously see that it's a great product that people want to watch, and that there's a substantial marketing dollar attached to that. So for you, I guess that must make you proud of what you're doing and the work that you've put in since 2011 and what's created.
It's hard work, I mean, as I said, like everything, this has been funded by me. The guys I use cameras and now editors and whatever it is, they do. Yeah, they're all volunteering. That's what we do. We want, maybe if we don't get the prize at the end of the tunnel, we can just say at least we did it. And,
exactly. Exactly.
You can't go in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, whatever it is, and go, what if, man? What if?
Yeah.
You got to do it. And look, we've had the interest. Everybody loves the concept, and I mean, and we've actually got star power in the show, which is, hopefully, we've got Lucy Holmes Bailey, who hosted The Mint on Channel 9, and she's part of the Logies. She's the Carols by Candlelight. She does the 100% Kylie show, which is the best Kylie Minogue tribute show in the world, as well as getting hired to go to England to actually fill in for the real Kylie for a commercial because Kylie couldn't do it at the time because I think she was doing The Voice. So we've got some pretty decent people. We've got a guy called Johnny Blunt, if anyone looks him up online, who does the Queen Band in Queensland. This guy came second in the world in impersonators, and he puts on a killer show, pardon the pun, and it's great, you know, and that's what we aim for. And now, to help the tribute bands, I've opened up another website called tributedirectory.com, which is basically a site where the bands go put their stuff on and can get contacted, you know. And
that's good, isn't it? Because I mean, they need gigs, they need places to play.
Yeah.
So that's
and I
great
think it's
to really
hard
give back.
because a lot of agencies across Australia, which I know of, and they're all nice people, yeah. But the problem is, a guy who wants to book them, whether it's overseas or even a Joe Blow who wants to book a Kiss band for his birthday, will have to go to 18 websites to find tribute guys. I go, well, why not just build one? And they could just go to the one and go, okay, type in Kiss. All right, there's about 7 Kiss bands, or, you know, Tom Jones or whatever it is. And they go, all right, now I can contact them, you know. And instead of going later on, God, I should have gone to that other website. They had the other guy in there. And I'm trying to make it easy for them and get gigs, you know. It's all about the gig.
So, John, there's only one person that you do all the work on that. You do all the booking and stuff and the video editing. And how many people work for you?
Oh, well, at the moment, when it started, I was cameraman, editor, producer. I actually did an interview behind this. I actually even played some music for one of the guys, Dave Evans, the original singer from AC/DC. I mean, I ended up doing too much, and you know, I got burnt out at the end of the day. So I brought in a cameraman, really awesome gentleman, Mark Uren, and he's now doing my editing and camera work.
Oh, good stuff.
And now I can do what I think I do best, and that's push the show, market it, you know, put the Hulus out there, put the, you know, the 7 mates and make them know, hey, there's a show out there now, you know, where I couldn't do that when I was editing, or I was too busy. And I have a real world too, you know, and I'm a multimedia guy and I do websites, apps and stuff like that. So it's it's a big world, but you know, I'm trying to get time now.
And also, you mentioned before the show, you did some work for that Channel 31 show, that garden show, Village.
Yeah,
what it's called.
I worked for years ago. I worked for a company that were just doing normal TV, and at the end of the day, you know, it ended up creating Vasily's garden show. You know, and he was, you know, what it is. You know, a home video style guy who, you know, pardon the language, it's the wog thing, you know. They loved it, you know. He would speak half Greek and, you know, a bit of Aussie here, and they all loved him. At the end of that, then it ballooned. He was the biggest show on Channel 31 at one stage. SBS picked it up, and, you know, they're back on 31, and good on them.
Good on them. Yeah. All right, let's go to Belinda, and she's got some questions for you. Go ahead, Belinda.
Sure.
Yeah, I was just going to ask what your music inspirations are. Like, which bands inspire you?
Queen, huge. I like Bon Jovi, only songwriting wise, but I can go backwards and love, you know, the Beatles, and sadly being a guitarist, keyboardist, you know, I'm a closet Van Halen fan, you know, but it doesn't matter. I just love it all as long as it's got a good melody. You know, I love some Elvis things. I might make fun of the Elvis scene. I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying I love Elvis. You know, from the leather era. You know, so it's all good. The '68 comeback special was fantastic.
Yeah, and what do you think of the talent shows that are on television, like X Factor and Australia's Got Talent and that sort of thing, and making kind of instant stars or something?
Look, I know a lot of. I've done a lot of show reels, you know, for a lot of those guys, from Big Brother to this, and voice gives it a little bit of respect, and the bagging of the artist. Well, you know, I won't say too much, but I did work at one of them just as a fill-in, you know, and I saw it, you know. You want to comment? Some of it's okay, and a lot of it's put on. So, instant rock star. Well, you know what the story is there. There's only 2 that survived, to me, and that's obviously Guy Sebastian and Shannon Knoll, that have done pretty reasonable.
And ironically, I think they were on the same night versus each other.
Yeah.
Were they not?
I think it was because of the fact that it was the first thing of these talent shows that they made it big, and the other ones, well, not that they flopped. I think, like anything that you do marketing, the more you show it, the more you shove it down our throats, the more you're not going to watch it.
I channel flick through those sometimes, and there was one girl this year on, I think it was X Factor, who was really, really fantastic. She was a blonde girl, but she was every bit an international artist, and she didn't end up winning. She ended up, I think, coming third or fourth, or something. But you just don't know where they're going to go. And as you said, it's all about marketing, and PR and these sorts of things. It's not so much about whether they can sing and what they can do these days. Reagan Dairy. She had every bit of talent, but I don't know where she is now.
It's just it's a difficult process for these kids because they go on there and they want to be stars, and they give them false hope. Some of these shows, and they're given contracts they can't keep to. And that's the sad part of these people. The same thing with the Big Brothers. If you include the Big Brother concept. They get given contracts they can they just basically puppets for a while. And
so just jumping across to Foxtel, you're on the Aurora channel at the moment. Would there be any value or ambition to try and get a slot on something like an MTV or a Max or one of those other channels, more commercial rather than the community, or are you quite comfortable being on that community side of Foxtel?
Well, the thing is, I have been offered a couple from a couple of networks, but the offer was to the point where I would have to be bankrupt, and it's a hard one because at the end of the day, they want success, and I can't offer them success. I can offer them a diverse product, and my friend got his show on Seven Mate. I think it was Man Cave and Manscaped, Man Cave, and that did okay. Very high production, but it doesn't promise you anything else, So yes, the Hulu might help us going on there, and some of these mediums. But remember, they're online mediums. Not many people know about them, and it's all about the economy.
So, John, what's your view on Foxtel? Do you like Foxtel? Do you like watching it? What's your view on it? Do you think it's
I love Foxtel.
How long have you had it for? Because I get a lot of people saying it's really not really bad value, but seeing a lot of ads and stuff on there. What's your view on the ads and that sort of thing?
The ads have increased. I remember I had Foxtel when it first came out. Actually, it was Optus Vision first. Then obviously I went to Foxtel, and then the ads have gone to the point where there's a lot, but then you got to also look at this point. There's costs, and maybe chucking the price tag, which was to $25 dollars now for the subscription, would probably help them quite a lot. And it's the ad theory, Right. But look, at the end of the day, Foxtel gives you what you ask for, especially the new packages.
Yeah, definitely new channels and stuff in the IQ3 box. That's some pretty good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think they need to get a few more diverse. I used to like Ovation. I can't remember seeing it anymore.
Well, I can't remember. They got the studio channel on there. Studio. The studio channel.
Studio, I think, is the old Ovation.
They're getting rid of it, and they're getting rid of that, and it's going to be called the Arts channel.
Oh, you're kidding me! See, I love that stuff because I could take my Queen and the Rolling Stones and the bios, and I love that stuff, and it had some really good docos on there as well. And
I think it's going to be the same sort of content, but just a name change. I think, really. Yeah,
I think so too. But you also got to remember the government's taking away subsidies from ABC and SBS and studios owned by SBS. Yeah. So they probably want to rebrand themselves a little bit, and studio probably wasn't a right word. I think they're very arty, so maybe it might be good that they're getting a new name.
So let's go to Steve or Jacob. Any questions for John, real quick? Any questions, Steve?
It's more of a statement, I guess.
Go ahead, Steve.
Actually, I think it's let me switch shots here. first. Oops. Yeah, I just want to say that it's. I think it's a unique idea having all the tribute bands together. When you mentioned it the first time, you said you did the tribute band and you did another one, and you got the idea, and I think that was a great idea to bring it all together because obviously, original music's great too, but a lot of people have their favorite bands they haven't heard in years. To see them almost like live, of course, it's not the same people or the same band, but you get the idea. So. And then you kind of went one step further into the online medium. So I need to go online and check out some of the shows. I hadn't had a chance to yet, so it's going to be interesting.
Can people watch the show episodes online, John, at all?
Well, we have been legally told to hold on to them because we might be going online. But I will probably be able to put some older episodes on for people to have a look. We do have promos all over our channel to give you an idea what's on the show. Right. So that'll give a lot of ideas. And speaking of original stuff, I also produce Band Wars on Aurora, which deals with original bands. Okay. So I do both sides of the fence, because I love originals. So
what about people in the US that want to check out your show? Can they watch that at all? How can they watch it if they're in the US?
In the US, it will be available in the next month. They're gonna be online. They're gonna be on demand as well too. So we're moving into this new world of on demand VODs, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to go online. And I want the Americans to see the show because we've got a lot of fans from America as well that are always curious when they see our promos on our YouTube page. And they go, wow, let's see it, because we do play a lot of American bands as well. It's locals.
Yep, definitely, mate. Jacob, any questions for John or Marla? Any questions for John?
Yeah, actually, I just found out Mercury in retrograde is really terrible. I just saw that my power cord was sort of on fire.
Oh, wow.
And I have about 1% battery. So anyway, I just want to thank you all. And as far as tribute bands, I think people are lacking that human contact. And I think the smaller venues and the music they love and the chance to dance and interact is probably, as John said, part of that whole experience. And, since people can't afford, or when you're in a big stadium, it's really hard to experience it this way. I think that's why, tribute bands and even karaoke, people like to do karaoke. So good job, John. And I think you keep me posted as far as what's happening here in the States. Yeah. And if I can help, pass the word around, I'd be thrilled to do so. And I'm just going to get off before I burn my house down and find out.
Go and put
oh
out
my
that
God.
fire
I couldn't believe, what happened basically. Well, basically it stopped charging and it started raining. And then broken. I moved. I'm actually sending Brad a picture.
I just seen
it. It was sparking.
Is it a actual Apple cord or is it like a third party? Oh, really?
No, okay. No. Apple to a MacBook Pro. In very strange. But Mercury's in retrograde, so it's something to be expected.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you all. I had a great time, and we'll see you on the interwebs. And I'm Divine Miss M on Twitter, DV as in Victor, IN as in Nancy, MSM, and then you can reach me through there. And thanks again. Great to meet all of you. Great to talk to you, Andrew and Brad and John. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, Marla.
Thanks, Marla.
Okay, let's go to Jacob. What do you want to say? Any questions made at all for John or?
No, really. You actually answered he actually answered the question about the U.S.
Okay. Do you see many tribute bands over in the US, Jacob, or any on TV at all, or that sort of thing?
Well, put it this way, I just like the original stuff.
But what's your view on tribute people doing tributes to bands and that?
I like that idea. Hey, they take the older bands, make them modern with their own flair.
Yeah. And what about you, Andrew? Have you done much karaoke at all? Have you been on TV at all or done any that sort of thing?
I've done karaoke. It's at a little karaoke bar in Russell Street in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually at about 1:30 or 2 a.m. and it's usually not very pretty. And I don't think John would want it to be on the television.
Yeah, that's going to ask.
Yeah, it's
Hey, I do have a segment called OMG, so maybe we can put it on.
I've seen it, John. It's great. I'd probably make OMG with my mates. We get up there, 3 or 4 of us, and we have a great rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody, as I'm sure everyone does.
Do you do the high notes, Andrew, or?
I don't, but sometimes we'll get one of the girls up or one of my mates will go the high notes, and we get our full Wayne's World on when that bit comes up on stage, which is always exciting.
All right, good stuff. All right, John, where can I get hold of you if they've got any more questions for you, mate? Appreciate your time, by the way, too.
You can catch us on, we've got the tributeshow.com.au, and also we've got tributedirectory.com, and you can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook on Tribute Show TV.
Good stuff.
So just jump in, say hello, like us, do whatever you need to do.
Yep, and what about you personally? Can I get hold of you on Twitter or?
John Powers with a Z at the end. And if they want to tweet, say hello. Not a problem. Ask any questions, anything, not a problem.
And that tribute show is on a Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on Aurora Channel on Foxtel.
Yes, it is, and plus about 6 to 7 other repeats during the week as well. So we do get played well. So
do indeed. I'll be watching it tonight. You can get me on Twitter at Brad Oz on Techwebcast. Belinda, what about you? What's your final view on the show? And
it's a great show. Great to have you on, John. And the tribute show is fantastic, and I'll be tuning in tonight. And you can catch me at bdemi on Twitter.
All right, Jacob, what about you, mate?
Well, I like this because I get to see other music stuff that in Australia.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and you can follow me at jazzbot32669, and that's 1Z.
All right, Steve, what about you, mate?
Yeah, it was actually a fun show with the 2 guests talking about Francis wines as well. Of course, I like wine as well. And you can find me on Twitter as Chatterbox_live.
Good stuff. That's, yep. Good to have you on, Steve, again. Andrew, any more last words you want to say, mate?
Yeah, just a great show today, John. I appreciate you having you on, and with Marla from the US, 2 different people doing different things. But as Marla said, she's been in the TV industry, probably has a lot of contacts, and we'll connect you up with her. And if anything can happen, or if there can be any help either way, then it could be a good contact stateside. It's been a lot of fun, and you can grab me at Twitter or Facebook as Cunning Drew, and on the Zafo or Rewind apps.
Good stuff. See you next week, guys. Good show.
Techwebcast. The hosts and guests are unsurpassed. Techwebcast. 'Cause technology, it moves so fast. Techwebcast. Ha! Stick around and you're gonna have a blast. Yeah! Techwebcast. Ha! Ha! Techwebcast. Big ups to Andrew, to Brad, Jody, Steve, and Jennifer. Boom!